Ladies and gentlemen, from the depths of Web3, I introduce to you the God Hates Podcast. The God Hates Podcast. Starring the Degen Preacher. Stephen. MelvinAi. And Clemenza. Sit back and smoke some utility as we fuck your ears with content over the next 90 minutes. Cheers to the moon. Let's go.
Let's fucking go. Welcome back, guys. Second episode of the God Hates Podcast. How's everybody doing?
Oh, you actually let me come back. Thanks for having me again.
It was a coin toss. Good evening, Stephen.
How's everyone doing today?
Good evening.
Damn good, Stephen. Good evening, my man. Glad to be back.
Wait, my cat is like messing up my. No worries, it's all good.
What's your cat's name, Stephen? I don't know if I ever caught it.
Oh, my cat is Bella, but she always follows me everywhere I go because I'm like in my bedroom now.
What a nice Italian name you got there, Stephen. Very nice.
Yes, thank you.
I thought you were gonna say your cat's name was like Kitty or something, or
No, I just Googled it and searched for the most common names, and I picked one out.
I like it.
Is that about how they chose your name, Stephen? They just said what's going to help him blend in the most?
Oh no, that's based on the '80s series Dallas.
Oh damn, dude!
And then I remember we were talking before, Stephen. What did you say your brother's name was?
Michael.
Michael. Okay.
So it's probably also one of those characters from Dallas.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, man, it's good to have you guys back on. We've got an amazing show set up for today. We've got the one and only Chili Palm in the house. What's going on, Chili?
Hey guys, congratulations, episode 2. 2's a lucky number, right, Stephen? I think that's in Chinese culture, that's pretty lucky.
For sure. That's why we got you here this time.
That's it. Yeah, first guest.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
you're officially the first guest on the God Hates Podcast. Congratulations for whatever that's worth. Long.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for inviting me. I'm thinking, eventually maybe I could be like the Alec Baldwin of the God Hates Podcast, because wasn't he on Saturday Night Live like 75 times or something?
Yeah,
He
just
was.
like that reoccurring role.
Yep. Sucking on sweaty balls, right?
Exactly.
Hey, you're not saying Chili sucks on sweaty balls, are you, Clemenza?
No, that wasn't
sweaty.
Sweaty. That was an Alex Baldwin. I knew Chili would get it there, Mel. That's the way it goes. Hey, Stephen, you have that cat with the arm, the Chinese cat with the arm as a gift for Chili, with the arm that goes up and down?
No, I don't have that one, but I know which one you're referring to, the white cat. That
Yes,
has
I thought we would just make sure we get that to Chili. He definitely needs that, this one. It's second, you know what I'm saying? It's a good omen.
For sure, 100%.
I love it. Tell me about your week, Stephen. How has your week been so far?
Oh, my week has been pretty stressful because it all started with those Jeffrey Dahmers again, and I think I got like 10 of them gifted, so I sent one to Arkham as a gift, and then I noticed all the set approvals were like set approval for all on my MetaMask, and the first thing I did was I reached out to Preacher, send me your wallet. I'm going to send all of my tokens to you.
Hold on, Stephen. Hold on. We got to back up a little bit. For the people who don't know what happened, we hurt some feelings last week on our first podcast. Some Jeffrey Dahmers got their feelings hurt. And so Stephen thought for a moment that he was getting rugged and his shit was getting drained. When chaos ensued, and I should also mention, Stephen took his first dab ever from Mrs. Q, picked up on some of that utility from that Brookland smoke shop, and good on you, Stephen, for doing that. However, panic ensued, and Stephen, continue.
Yes. So what happened? I was all panicked, and I decided to send all my tokens to Preacher, like all the tokens that I got in my MetaMask.
Every single one, about 121 tokens.
So
hit my wallet.
So thereby making Preacher one of the top holders, probably.
For sure. Then afterwards, I was checking on the GodHates marketplace, like how many tokens Preacher had, and then he moved up in ranks, but still, for example, couldn't let's say beat Merge on rankings.
No.
Way too far from Pele
Yes.
because he has like multiple wallets as
That
well.
just shows you how deep some of these wallets are in the community. Even after Steven sent you, what was it, over 100 tokens?
Yeah, 121 tokens from the
You still
ecosystem.
couldn't break the top 10 of our holders. That's funny.
And then afterwards, I found out I already set up my my ledger, but I probably didn't connect or synchronize the ledger on my other laptop. So looking back at it, I could have sent all the tokens to myself from the beginning.
But that's that dab sweats, right? That's what happens. You took that first dab, you got sweaty, you saw some allowances, you sent all your shit away. So you're lucky I love you though, Steven. You're lucky I'm a good guy, man. Otherwise,
you're welcome.
I would have made bank on that.
I had the dab sweats from Miami when I took those dabs that Miss Q gave me. I'm just lucky I didn't have my cell phone by me at that time. I probably would have done some random shit like that too. Just floored all my tokens, sent everything to a hot wallet for my ledger. Those dabs get you funny though, don't they, Steve?
No, actually, I was pretty focused because while I was on Spaces, I told to everyone, don't talk about it because they might be like listening in on Spaces at the same time. You never know.
There was actually some unique, and I don't know if we ended up catching the audio of it, but Steven really went off the deep end with that. That's the first time I think a lot of people heard Steven swear so aggressively.
I've never seen him so aggressive on Spaces.
He was upset. He was upset.
And I
Yes.
Of course, it's like your maturity of your tokens that are worth a lot, and that you spend like 6 months trying to build up your portfolio or your bag. Then of course it's like stressful.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, Clement.
I was gonna say absolutely, Steven. That's why you gotta watch what you're saying out there as well. It was Preach, myself, and you, and obviously I shut up, right? Because I knew you were in a tizzy, in a haze. But you definitely let the other side of you come out, and it was very interesting to hear that from you, my man. I'm proud of you, actually.
Yeah, thank you for that. Because I think in general, most Asians are like pretty modest, humble, but from time to time, you also need to show your true colors. Otherwise, people will walk over you for sure.
You just can't go around telling anybody you're gonna off them on Spaces, right?
No, it's all trying to find out the proper balance in real life, because you can also experience these kind of situations when you're working for a company, or maybe having a dinner outside with some friends.
I can't wait any longer. The anticipation is killing me. I have been waiting. I don't even know how long, weeks, months, to be able to talk to Chili, to get him in a one-on-one where we can actually pick the fucking man's brain, the genius behind the art of this project. We're lucky that we get Chili here today. I mean, fuck, where do we even start? Chili, how did you hear about our project? Did you mint with us on Mint Day? How long have you been around? Where did this all start for you?
Yeah, so I remember I remember seeing those pictures back from NFT NYC, right? And then the mint posts coming out. And yeah, I was grinding too, trying to get into the Discord, trying to get a whitelist spot. I was messaging Peters like, hey dude, I'm an artist, I want to help you out. And nothing. So I ended up not minting. I didn't get a whitelist spot. So I bought on secondary. But yeah, I'd say probably a couple days after, and the floor price just started going up, and I was like, shit, this isn't coming back down, so I better get into it quick. That's when I first got in.
Yo, that's crazy. So you were here before Mint, like when whitelist was being collected, and you were already trying to get in Peter's DMs about like the art and shit like that. So you were here before Mint even happened.
So Peters had put out a post, and I wish I could remember the post. I probably still have the DMs if I go back far enough, but he had put out a post asking for art or asking if there was any artists out there. And, I was DMing him like, hey, I'm willing to help out. And he probably got a bunch of DMs at the time, and he didn't know who I was. So, one of the first ones the first piece that I minted was the OG with the Astro suit that I used as the inspiration for the Travels of Chili Palm. That was my very first, not mint, I'm sorry, that was the first one I bought.
Legendary token, the thief with the Basie hat, right?
Thief, Basie hat, Astro suit. It's got the cat mouth. Yep.
Oh, that is a legendary token. That is like, when I think of this project, I think of that token because it was used so much in the beginning as like a marketing piece that I didn't.
Yeah, well, most of the stuff that we shared out was Travels to Chile related. Even Peter's right away, I think, before he even realized what you were doing, right? Was sharing some of your artwork and your posts.
So before I even started drawing that token, let's see, I think I did one of the first ones I did was like a guy covered in bananas. I don't know if you remember that, but it was sort of like an OG, but you couldn't see anything on him. It was just covered completely in bananas. And I think Peters had retweeted that. I think that was the first one. We went back and forth and messaged a little bit after that one.
Yeah, because you did the Tekashi 6ix9ine.
I did the 6ix9ine, and then I did
it all your stuff. So that
the
red background with Peter's laying in the nude with bananas on him was from you, Chili?
No, that one wasn't me. I'm not sure who did that one.
Yeah, no, this is the one you sent because we just talked about this earlier in the week. And
that one was fire.
Yeah, he had sent me them and these because we had referred to them as like the original M1 mutations, right? Like this was like the first time that I think anybody had even put a thought to, because you did the Bart Simpson one, and that was a full banana Bart Simpson.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the other one that's the standing gentleman completely covered in them. And so those were huge back then, man.
Oh, that Bart Simpson one is what made me really fucking ape in. When I started seeing that kind of art come out of this project, I was like, fuck, dude, this already had Rick and Morty vibes. But when I actually saw like Simpsons type characters and shit like that, I was like, oh, fuck, dude, it doesn't even matter what I have in my wallet. I gotta fucking sell everything for this shit. When that whole shit like Travels to Chile thing went down, that like captured my attention. Like, fuck, dude, I haven't felt like that since I was a kid. Like that kind of excitement was just crazy, dude.
For like dizzying.
It was for months.
Dizzying.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, we still stay up late, but when that was happening, we were staying up late, like doing research, going down rabbit holes. It was fucking nauseating how just in depth we were all getting. It was fun, dude. It was crazy. I've never really experienced anything like that. It was like a fucking scavenger hunt in Web 2 crossed over to Web 3 with fucking NFTs and crypto. It was just like mind-boggling, dude. It was incredible.
And for Chile to get through at that time, we weren't entertaining anybody, right? For anything. And for Chile to get through with that project, I remember we were like, who is this? Are we supposed to be doing this? Is this, what are we doing? So I think it's a testament in what it was that it shined through, and we all participated.
Well, and as fun as it was honestly necessary too, to be honest. Like it had allowed us to fill so much time in a point in the project where everything was so mysterious anyway, right? At this point, we had no idea, what kind of individual Peters was, right? And so this kind of got our mind off of the project and onto this event, right? Because that's the first time that I'd ever seen anything like that. And it was a lot of fun and nerve-wracking, but fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad it could be nerve-wracking for you. That was my intent. So that Travels of Chili Palm piece, it was like we're talking, it's probably the fourth piece I drew for God Hates, for like a promo piece or a fan art piece, whatever you want to call it. And really, I decided to mint it because I wanted it, it was like this way for me to start giving back to the community. I wanted to start like not just putting my art out there for you guys to see, but also minting it and then sort of just giving it away. right? I didn't want to just draw it and put it out there, but I didn't want to give away just anything. I wanted to kind of have some sort of value to it. So the things that I gave out to the community had, eventually had some value, or at least try to create some value to go along with it. So with that travels piece, I wanted to do a couple things. I wanted to give it, scarcity, and I wanted to make them hard to get. And I wanted there to be like this time element between it. So, to make them scarce, I'm sure you guys know, right? I wanted to have this decreasing supply. So like they started out, and I think I can't even remember. I think there was like 55 in the first one, that subsequent gamble. But as they went on, I wanted them to decrease in supply with the thought that, as they go on, they become more and more rare and sort of become more and more valuable as people start to learn about it a little bit. But that first mint that I had on that subsequent gamble, that didn't really go so well for me. It didn't really go out quite the way I was hoping it would go. I think you guys might remember, there was some like botting or sniping tools or something involved where one person ended up picking up, I don't know, a bunch of pieces and flipping them right away.
Penny flipper. Yeah.
Penny flipper. Right.
Yep. I
was,
remember it well.
Yeah. And some people got upset. They got upset with me. They were like, how could you let this happen? One guy got all these pieces. So I was like, I'm not going to let that happen again. So these next ones, I'm going to make the puzzles harder. I'm going to make people actually do some work that first one, there was still a mystery element to it, but I was like, not again. You're going to have to actually put in some work and have to actually solve some stuff to get these next ones. So
yeah, I can officially tell you, as one of the few people that own every single piece that you've released, I stopped being able to figure these out at 2. After 2, I was completely fucked, and I realized that it was going to be a very expensive venture chasing the rest, and I've done that. Proudly, I've done that. These are amazing. I can't imagine not closing out this collection. The art that you do is it's great, dude. It's fucking great.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Chili. I guess the last one that you did, right? In order for them to get it, they had to give away their 2 pieces, right? I was partial to that. I caught one of them off of one of the gentlemen that was doing it, right? And I think that is exceptional idea to do for people in order to get the last one, to give away what they have. It was pretty cool, man.
And that was a little bit of a crossover, right? Because the really a lot of the clues for that, not everybody, it wasn't solvable necessarily from my Doxxed Degen, but on my Doxxed Degen, there's a lot of clues in the sign, on the hat, and different places on that Degen where it's clues to actually solve that last travels piece.
Yeah, I remember that happened during the period when you guys were all in Miami, and I think Jesse managed to pick up one of those traps of chili.
He did, and I was so pissed because I was in Miami with him, and he knew that I would be going for him, and he dipped off on us. And it wasn't until they were all gone, he comes all sweaty back in the house like, hey, you guys, look what I got. And I'm just like, oh, that's fucking amazing, Jesse. That's awesome.
I thought I just got done going a couple rounds with Ryder because they always would disappear with each other in the back room. But no, he was out there sniping the chili art.
Unreal. So, but that's not all either though, Chili. Like, so that's amazing. And I'm looking forward to you coming to a close on the travels, because I'm excited to see what happens when I own all of them. Because I've done everything I can to grab them, and I've told people from the jump, I'm like, I don't know what he's got planned, but there's no way I don't want to be a part of it, So been out here grinding.
So the entire collection is really intended to be, a larger riddle in itself, right? I don't mean to. Maybe that's a little bit of alpha, but there's some trait names and some other stuff that have to do with solving the larger riddle. So there will be one more piece that'll be out there so you can solve that final riddle, and then there's going to be 2 1-of-1s will be sort of that final prize. So there's 3 more pieces. There's one more piece that's going to have an addition of 2, and then there will be 2 1-of-1s that'll sort of be the prize for those final 2 people.
I'm sure I'm going to pay out the ass for both of those at the end of the day. So You've got some other stuff coming up though. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I do want to say thank you. I recently let everybody in Spaces know that that we had decided to work together on my upcoming project, which I've been slacking on giving you the things you need to get that going for sure. But that's going to be amazing, man. I'm super excited about that. I know the community is very excited to see what me and you put out together.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it too, and I do appreciate you slacking on giving me what you need to give me, because it gives me time to get some other stuff out of the way. But yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. I don't know how much you've said or you haven't said, but I'll just add, if I may, that I'm really excited about it because I think it's going to be something really different aesthetically, if I can say that. And I don't think that it's something that's really reached the God Hates ecosystem yet. I mean, the community hasn't seen art that looks like this yet.
And I did allude to that for sure. And I think that's what everybody's most excited for, because as used to the travel series, and of course they saw a little deviation from that with the mutants, and then now to see on a completely different side, I think it's an amazing way to showcase your talent, right? And so that's super exciting, super exciting. I know everybody's super ramped up for that. I've been kind of keeping it close to the chest, not saying a whole lot because I don't really want to push FOMO or anything like that because it's such a small, limited collection that it's really not going to be a problem, getting rid of those. So
that's kind of one thing I want to touch on a little bit more, as I know there's a ton of people in this community that really like vibe with the Chili's art style, and I kind of just want to know a little bit more about like your history in art, Chili. Like, where do you get your inspiration? How long have you been doing art for? Do you do in real life art too, or is this like your first venture into being an artist and you started here in Web3?
Yeah, so as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be an illustrator. That was for Clemenza. How did I do?
That was beautiful, Chili. That was beautiful.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. If the other guys don't get it, you can explain it to them later.
I will.
So, yeah, my inspiration, I'm a late 80s kid. Art-wise, I've always been influenced by skateboard culture. Like growing up collecting Garbage Pail Kids. I don't know if you guys know what Garbage Pail Kids are, right? But that was like the first degen addiction collecting trading thing that I was ever into, right? The art at the time, I remember like blew my mind, and we were like trading these things back and forth, and they were just so cool. Comic books, whatever I could get my hands on when I was a kid. That's sort of what I wanted to hold on and be a part of, was that sort of skateboard culture. I couldn't skateboard to save my life, right? But I liked the vibe, the culture, the art that was around it on the skateboards and stuff. Trading cards. They opened up this comic book store, trading card store in my town. And man, when I was little, that was like every penny that I had went to this place, right? So, when I started realizing that some of this stuff had value and not just looked cool, like that was it. I mean, I was spending all my money on comic books and trading cards, and I kind of get that same feeling with Web3, right? This sort of trading and collecting and like looking for rare stuff, and even like that pre-mint feeling, right? Like when you I'm sorry, the pre-reveal, like when you're waiting for something to reveal, it's like opening up like that fresh pack of cards, like, man, I hope I got a good one in here. So I think it's only natural that from a Web3 standpoint, this is where I gravitated to, because it's got sort of all the same feeling to it as that does. But I guess from an art standpoint, yeah, I've always been an illustrator. I went to school for art and design. Back in 2000, I apprenticed as a tattoo artist. I did that for a while. Yeah, so I was presented with an opportunity to go to work for advertising, and now I work in like this corporate job, right? And I've got no sort of outlet for creativity. And it used to exist in my day-to-day. I used to be a painter. I used to do art. I used to do all this physical stuff all the time. And now I feel like, I needed to get that out somehow still. So when I found Web3 and I became re-engaged with all this art every day, it just felt like a really good opportunity to start illustrating again and getting all that back out there in my free time. And it's been a real it's really helped me out, right? Because now I have this ability to let all this creativity out that, I was able to do at one time. And now on my day to day, I'm working in, spreadsheets and Excel and stuff. And now on my spare time, I'm doing art. It's got that balance back for me.
Now, do any of your real life like coworkers or friends have you let them know what you do here in Web3? Are they privy to that side of you, or are you kind of standoffish? Because I know a lot of people tend to, minimize, if not completely hide their involvement with Web3.
So I would say there's one guy I work with who's pretty active in Web3. He collects NFTs. He's aware of me and what I do and different communities and stuff. But for the most part, I'd say 95% of the people I work with would have no idea what an NFT is.
And I think that's pretty fair for most. Now, the guy who does know, is he a holder of God Hates or any of your pieces?
Yeah, I think he might have an ape-hater or two.
Well, very cool.
He dabbles in some God Hates ecosystem stuff. He's not a big holder, but I think he's got a couple pieces.
Yeah, and something you had said kind of resonated, when you were like, equated it back to the trading cards. And it's funny because I've said that for the longest. I'm like, NFTs are trading cards mixed with high school, mixed with stocks, right? Because with the Twitter spaces and the community portion of it, you have that push pull, that drama, and we've got drama. We've always had a big waves of it. But then, yeah, I mean, I resonate exactly with what you're saying as far as the trading card aspect of it,
Like
the pre-reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kings and shit like that, all of that. That's the chase. That's the fun part, is like feeling like a kid again. I kind of want to dig a little bit more into what Chili was saying about like his inspiration, because I know, there's not a lot of originality in Web3. Everybody just steals each other's art and shit. Like, the Doxxed Degens has been probably one of my favorite projects I've been a part of since I started. Like, I know that, well, for people who don't know, Preacher was obviously doxxed unwillingly, because there were some fudders who just couldn't handle the reality that God Hates was better than their project, so they doxed him. And then Chili came up with a fucking brilliant idea to come up with our characters that is kind of like an homage to God Hates. However, Chili spoke one-on-one with every single person to make these Doxxed Degens. I kind of want to hear a little bit more about the Doxxed Degens, where you got that idea from, Chili. Like, what inspired you when you saw Preacher get doxxed and kind of get fucked publicly the way he did? What made you want to take it upon yourself to kind of stand up for him, make him this character, and then kind of just flip the script of that whole thing?
Yeah, so right, Doxxed Degens started because of Preacher, period, right? He was the inspiration for that project. Preacher and I had gone back and forth on DMs for a while, even well before that. And even that whole doc story, I didn't know the full story there, but I felt that, and I was like, I was angry about it. I was like, man, nobody has the right to do that to anyone. And I remember, and I don't know if I have this right or not, but I remember hearing like a Spaces right after that, and like what I was hearing like wasn't an angry dude. He was just like, all right, this is who I am. You found me. Congratulations. Fuck you. And I'm like, wow, okay. And so like as soon as I heard that, I immediately started drawing out that first Doxxed Degen a Preacher, and I was like, that was my intent, was just to be like, yeah, here you go. Like, you're embracing this, so here you go. And I messaged him, and I was like, I'm not sure of the exact scenario, but like, embrace it. I got your back. And I remember I sent him that first Doxxed Degen, and that was the first one.
Absolutely amazing. One of the most unforgettable things for me to date in this project. What was that? Because that is, I mean, when you get doxxed, and in the beginning there was so much lore, even with the Degen Preacher character, or what's now not a character, but what started as one, and when that went away, that was a pinnacle moment, right? Either it was going to be rejected, right? I was going to be rejected as like, oh, this guy has lied to us this whole time, as if you guys were upset that I wasn't a, 50-some-year-old pastor, or you were going to embrace it. And I think Chili was very instrumental in the embracing of that and taking a perceived negative and turning it into Doxxed Degens. I mean, it's absolutely amazing the FOMO that's around it, right? Like, we've got people in the community that if they don't get one of these, they're having meltdowns, man. Did you ever think that doing this would start something like that?
No, and I didn't even think. I mean, at first I thought 69 may be too many, right? Because about the same time that I sent you that, I started seeing all these other community members dox themselves sort of in unity, and I was like, well, shit, I got some more Doxxed Degens to draw. So I created this mint pass just sort of more of as a way to keep track of everybody and who I was going to draw next and what order they were going to be in. And I was like, well, I'll do like 69 of them, right, for the culture. Um, I did those whitelist spots first because I was like, well, we'll see who I minted them through OpenSea, and I wanted to get everybody's wallet so I could put it in there and make sure that everybody had an exact one. And there was like 200 people that wanted them, and I was like, well, that's not going to work. So yeah, we went through and the ones, we did more of a. I went through and did a rant, like sort of this random sorting just to figure out 69 random ones to put in there. So I wish I could say there was more thought between who got chosen, but yeah, it was 69 random people out of 200 got it.
Yeah, I remember that I missed out on the whitelist, and then afterwards, I think I got the Doxxed Degen Mint Pass from Alpha, so I managed to get in the first 69.
Just gonna say that I think that that's a life lesson, right? I know I always equate shit to that, but preacher, that storm came flying at us, right? So there's some animals that run away from the storm and the storm catches them and they're constantly in it. But other animals, right, run to the storm and run through it. And Chili, you were definitely inspirational in helping us and preacher run through that, right? I think that's an amazing thing for people to take out of it.
Back to the Doxxed Degens, I'm glad that the auctions went out perfectly. So eventually we managed to raise enough money to fund also season 2.
Yeah, that's right. So the first season was so fucking popular that people just literally could not live without these. Like, they started making derivs that were, it was what it was.
Oh my God, the deranged degens, as I like to call it. Okay, so I'm gonna stop you here, Chili. Have you seen these? Have you seen what we're talking about? The deranged degens?
I don't know if I know the exact name of it. I've seen some Doxxed Degen derivatives that are in the same style.
Okay, yeah. So we actually had we had a community member, and listen, bless their hearts. I absolutely love Arkham and Miss Arkham. They're some of my favorite people. DPW absolutely loves Miss Arkham. But so she had done her own, right? And so when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's, whatever, because it's, your own thing. You drew a picture, cool. And then we started seeing other ones pop up. So like people that weren't getting Doxxed Degens were then like going to her and having them draw. And bless her heart, she didn't charge anybody anything. It was innocent on her end. But at the same time, a handful of the actual Doxxed Degens ended up coming to a boiling point on it, and we had to address it. But some of the people felt like maybe it was a little bit disrespectful, tad bit devaluing, right, to the assets, and especially with rolling out, season 2, getting ready to go into auctions for originals, which I definitely want to get back to those auctions because those went for a really good price. I think I was wondering if you were surprised at how that ended.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was happily surprised at how the auctions went. I had heard there was some trading and some purchasing on the original 69 behind the scenes. I know Steven had purchased his from Alpha, and I know there was some. So
The div-
I had kind of an idea of what the market value was. But yeah, this exceeded my expectations by a bit. Yeah.
And then allowing everybody to actually put up their shadow. Doxxed Degen, the original, I think is also a tremendous thing for anybody who needed liquidity there as well.
Yeah, so maybe we can get into that a little bit because I don't know if there's some. I want to make sure we're clear and everybody understands my intent there, right? So the original 69 Doxxed Degens came with a mint pass, and the three that went for auction also came with a mint pass. And those mint passes, so there's 70 in the original collection because there's an honorary one for Peters, and then there's the three more that went for auction. So we'll call it 73 total mint passes are out there. Those mint passes you can use to mint a season 2 in the first phase of minting for free in the season 2 Doxxed Degen collection. And originally I was going to make it so that if you had a Doxxed Degen, you could mint for free. But I decided to make it the mint pass instead of the Doxxed Degen itself because I wanted to continue to add value, right? These projects that I do, I always want to add value to it. What value can I keep adding to this? And I thought, well, if I made the utility on the mint pass, and that way you could use it as a Doxxed Degen to either mint season 2, or you could sell it and get the liquidity out of it. Do that, and it doesn't affect your main Doxxed Degen at all. So yeah, I mean, if you want to sell it, you're encouraged to. I'm not telling you that that's going to be the end of the utility for the mint pass, so keep that in mind. But yeah, if you want to sell it and you want to use that as a liquidity event, then do it.
I think if anybody in this community has learned anything, it's to not throw away anything, right? It's definitely. I was just thinking that as you were saying it, I'm like, there ain't no damn way I'd redeem that for a free mint for a Doxxed Degen season 2. I'll just sweep the floor or pay the mint
Well,
and keep my pass, because there's been people that have offered even to buy certain individuals' Doxxed Degen complete, right? And this is pre your announcement. So there's definitely some FOMO around it.
so preacher, go back to the mint pass just for a second. The
Yeah.
mint pass that you hold, you're not going to redeem that for a Doxxed Degen season 2. The
Okay,
holder,
it's simply holding it then.
if yeah, the wallet that holds it will be eligible for a free mint in phase 1.
Okay,
Right.
fair enough.
So the liquidity is you sell it to somebody, right? Like if you want to bring somebody else into Doxxed Degens that doesn't have a Doxxed Degen, you have the ability to, you can sell that and then they can mint a free Doxxed Degen, but then they're still holding your mint pass, right? It doesn't get burned. It doesn't go anywhere. That's just sort of the first utility that's going to happen.
Fair enough. Okay, I completely understand now.
I remember also during the auctions, I was on Spaces, and everyone was under the impression that I was bidding for, I believe, 71.
There were some hurt feelings when they saw you pick up another Doxxed Degen in the auction when you already had one. But you were giving that to Trucker Man.
Yeah, for sure. Because he was already in my DMs up front. Because he was telling me there's like bank holiday, so he had the funds, but he couldn't, let's say, get the ETH ready.
But I know in Spaces, I was in there too, and I know Steven, me and you had set up there and kind of hyped it all up as well. So I had made it pretty clear that I wasn't gonna allow any of those Doxxed Degen spots to go for an ETH or below. So that kind of set the precedent because I would have had no problem grabbing those at the ETH mark, even though I currently own one, just to kind of token gate. And there was even talks of a Doxxed Degen kind of cult wallet, right? Where we were going to throw in some ETH to own those and then token gate entry. So yeah, I think it went to some good guys. I think the right people got them, and I think they valued them. So that was definitely good to see that price go.
Yeah, they went for what 1.5.
1.5. Yeah, 1.5.
So how many mints are going to be in season 2 total, and how many of those mints are going to be a custom Doxxed Degen pass?
Okay, so season 2 is going to have a total of 1,000 pieces. Phase 1 of the mint will be, like we just said, anybody who's got a mint pass from that original collection. So that'll be 72 eligible people, or 70, right? 73 eligible, goes up to number 72 because Peters is that 00. So 73 people, but 72 is the number. Phase 2 will be a paid mint, but it's going to be for everybody that holds a DVDA pass. So if you hold a DVDA pass, you're whitelisted for phase 2, and you can mint max 3 for your wallet that you hold a DVDA. And then the third mint will be anybody that holds a God Hates Eco, whether it's Ape Hater, whether it's Mutant, whether it's an OG, right? And then you can mint a max of 5 if we ever make it to that point. And that'll be the closest we ever get to a public mint, will be if we can make it to that phase 3 with opening it up to the whole ecosystem. So to answer your question, there's going to be 1,000 of these sort of mix and match traits that all come from the original 70 Degens. And then there's going to be 7 mint passes in that season 2 collection to get the custom PFP and to be added to that Genesis collection.
On that, Chili, I just wanted to make sure, because I had a couple of questions in the DM from people who really aren't in and they have a Doxxed Degen. I remember you said that if they sell that Doxxed Degen as is, as them, you would be able to then turn that into a new Doxxed Degen for whoever bought that in their image. Is that still the case, or is that just too much work?
No, that's the case. So if there's an original Doxxed Degen, and we're talking about the actual Doxxed Degen PFP, right? Not the mint pass, but your PFP.
That's correct. Yep,
Yeah.
your actual Doxxed Degen. Yep.
So if you decide that you're done with Doxxed Degens, and you want to sell it, you can absolutely sell it, and the new owner can get new artwork for that. In fact, I think the right thing to do is even give it a new number, right? Because that old number is going to be associated with the old artwork. We just give it a new number, give it new art, we give it new everything.
I think that's awesome, Chili. Yep, absolutely.
All right, I got a question. This one might be kind of hard to answer too, and feel free to pass if you don't have it off the top of your head. But I'm curious, who was your favorite Doxxed Degen to create, and who was your least favorite? And if you're not familiar, then just give me some of your favorite traits that you created.
Wow. Okay. So I gotta say, nostalgia wise, some of the earlier ones are some of my favorite, right? Just because it was so early on. It sort of takes me back to that point in time where it was just sort of starting. It was exciting. I didn't really know how this was going to go. I didn't know how I was going to do this many of them and contact everybody and sort of get all the inspiration that they wanted to put into it. But I think art wise, I think I sort of progressed as this collection went on, and I think the pieces actually got better. So aesthetically, I think the ones that are in like that final third, I think I really started to get into my groove, and I think they to me, they came out easier. They sort of flowed better. So I have a connection to all of them. There's not one that I really, right. That I think that's why I really like, when I'm pulling these traits out for Doxxed Degens season 2, and I'm looking at all these individual traits, they all sort of take me back. And I think that's why I've got such a connection to this season 2, is because I'm mixing these traits, right? From the ones that, maybe I like this one aesthetically, but this one I hold sort of this nostalgia piece to, and I'm mixing them all together. Like, wow, this is really cool that they're all coming together like this. Yeah. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I'm not going to tell you which one was the most difficult or which one I didn't like.
I was hoping it was mine. I really got some bragging rights. I needed to be on Spaces talking about how how mine was his favorite. But
I love yours.
To dig in a little deeper on that, and you can dodge this one too, and I'm assuming that you will. But artwork aside, who was your favorite individual to work with, and who was your least, and why? Was there a Doxxed Degen in particular that just wouldn't leave you the fuck alone, couldn't make up their mind?
The worst one,
right? Wanted 9 fucking edits on something.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a few where we went multiple rounds of edits. Yeah, there were several that we went multiple rounds of edits. I gotta say, it's kind of crazy because for the most part we hit this happy medium, right? Where it was like, I like this, but would you mind adding, this number, or would you mind changing this color, or right, some small little edit. And that's how the majority of them went. But yeah, there was two or three. There was a handful of them where it was like, that sign is not what I was thinking at all. I need you to completely redo it, right? And we redid it like three or four times, and it's still.
I know
So
you
yeah,
got somebody in mind. Give us a name.
yeah, I'm not gonna go there. There was a few. There was a few.
You're not gonna break Chili. There's no
No,
way
I'm
you're
not,
breaking Chili.
not going there.
Just say it was VZ already.
What's
I don't
that?
know.
He said,
Easy.
just say it was
Easy.
easy already. Jesus. So, and I already know that likely mine was the easiest because I fought you on changing anything after you had sent me that. Because originally I did end up working with you on a sign. Remember, because the original sign for mine it said Doxxed Degens, and it was a giant hairy set of balls.
It was a giant nutsack, yeah.
Yeah, that was the original. And you were like, hey man, funny is funny, but dead ass, this is gonna be forever. Let me change that sign. You're like,
Well, yeah.
let me change the sign.
I thought, I mean, yeah. So when it was a giant middle finger to the whoever was doxing you, yeah, giant nutsack seemed right. But when I decided to take this a little step further and make it into a collection, I figured I might not want, the main token of this collection to have a giant nutsack on it. So yeah, and I love your new sign. I think your new sign is the way to go.
Oh man, I thought you did a killer job on it, dude. Listen, so it was at that point when I was like, kind of thinking about, okay, what artist do I want to get a hold of? And just thinking back to that sign, right? Those cult vibes. And I mean, you caught it, you caught it. And so yeah, I enjoy mine. I see a lot of the traits and I'm like, man, like, wow, these are really, really dope ass ideas and whatnot. But for me, and you did offer to do whatever to it. I will say that you've offered that a couple of times. But I think just the honest form of it, right? So that was like how you interpreted my docs. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, run it. I fucking love it, dude. So I'm very excited. I don't know if my other co-host here saw, but Doxxed Degens released the podcast for tonight as a Doxxed Degen. So there's the Melvin, Steven, Clemenza chili combo with Preacher on there. Have you guys seen that? Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
Yes.
That's my favorite part about this. I'm so looking forward to seeing the combination of these traits. And we know how crazy our other collections are with community traits, unless you're fucking Mr. Crypto's piece of shit ass, or you're fucking crypto, or was it Rug God fucking
You feel me?
Yeah, that shitty ass rapper. Like, unless you're one of those guys and nobody wants your trait, it's going to be interesting to see, because these 69 Doxxed Degens, like, they're traits of everybody. So like, I know I'm impartial to my Dare shirt, my fuck cancer sign. I know there's a lot of other people that resonate with the fuck cancer sign. So it's going to be fun to watch these combinations and to see how people chase the traits. Like, yeah, it's going to be fucking awesome. I can't wait to know about what these this 1,000, and it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be fun chasing them. Chili,
I got a couple surprises for you guys. You guys want some surprise alpha on this or what?
Oh, questions. Give me the alpha.
So yeah, so this collection is going to be made up of all community traits, which is kind of crazy, right? Because it's in the other ones, it's you're going after the community trait. So there's been questions like, hey, is there going to be any traits that weren't in that original 69? Are they going to show up in Doxxed Degens season 2? Right? Are there going to be any surprise traits? Well, I can say with confirmation, there will be surprise traits. There's going to be about 30 to 35 traits. And I'm happy to announce that I was talking to Non-Fungible Motion, or Fungi as we intimately know him, and he's going to be doing those 30 to 35 surprise traits for season 2.
Oh,
Fuck yeah.
oh, that's so fucking
Oh,
fire.
I can't wait, dude. Your guys' collabs that you were putting out where you went back and forth, dude. That's my favorite. I own like 3 of each of them. I cannot fucking wait to see the traits that you guys came up with.
Yeah,
Can you give
I'm
me
excited.
one of them? Can you just tell us one of them? Let me salivate. Give me one of these hidden traits.
So we haven't really gone through and determined what the exact traits are going to be yet, but I think we're going to go.
Now we can bleep it out.
Yeah, I think we're going to go.
during that
I think we're going to go the celebrity route for the surprise traits.
Oh man. Okay.
I can only imagine what that's.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
So
Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So that'll be good. And I don't know if I know we've talked a little bit about Doxxed Degens season 2 here, but I don't know if maybe the people that are listening want to know Doxxed Degen, that original Genesis collection. The way it operates is sort of like almost like a DAO, right? I mean, there's 69 people, well, plus the additional 3 that have a say in every move and every decision and sort of the financial decisions that we make with not only the Genesis Degens, but also now with the season 2. So, right, like we had votes on what the mint phases were going to be. We had votes on
Hey, you guys have literally put it to us to vote on every single decision. Even I think even as many as how many new Doxxed Degens were going to be in the new collection.
yeah, right. So
it has been definitely community design.
Community design. So I really wanted the entire community to sort of run this next collection and just sort of determine where it goes, what we do with the money, right? Because we've still got some money in that from the auction. We still got, I think, like almost 1.4 ETH in that community wallet that we can at any time, use that toward mutants, or use that toward rotten bananas, or use that toward buying an OG. I mean, whatever we wanted to do, anybody in that 69 can put up a proposal for vote. And if 1/3 of the degens vote yes on it, then it passes, and that's what we do.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's, like I said, that's the new alpha for the Web3. And I think Peters and GodHatesNftees as a whole has really helped pioneer that and show that as the new standard. And so I think even when we had discussed it, you had kind of alluded to that, like, this is how this has been. How can I create it and not allow it to be the same way? And so I think that was a great move. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump back to Melvin's question again. 1,000 pieces in the collection. There's going to be 7 mint passes that'll get you that Genesis Doxxed Degen. But then there's also going to be, and this is more alpha because I mean, you guys are great, so I'm just going to keep giving it to you guys so you have it. There's also going to be another 1 of 1 in the collection. It's not going to be a mint pass. It's going to be an actual 1 of 1. I don't know what the content is going to be. In other words, I don't know if it's going to be a celebrity, or I don't know who it's going to be. But I will tell you that last week I secured a surprise artist to do this. He's an amazing artist. He's going to create this 1 of 1 for this collection, and I'm really excited about it. When I announce who this is, heads are going to explode when you find out who this is.
Oh man, dude.
I'm loading ETH right now.
right.
When is mint?
Yeah. So when is mint on this? Let's let everybody know. When do you plan on minting this and rolling that out, or have you decided?
It looks like mint is going to be. We haven't decided an actual date yet, but it looks like it's going to be somewhere near it's going to be mid-February, right? So it's either going to be that 2nd or 3rd week in February.
Very exciting. So plenty of time to get your ETH loaded up and be ready for that. I can't wait. That's crazy. I'm super excited. Now I'm like wanting to know who this secret artist is, dude, because I'm a art fan. And I think a lot of the people in the community are. So that's great.
I already know I'll be minting all faces, max.
Yeah, this is never gonna hit. whatever form of public mint is set up. This is going to be minted out by Doxxed Degens and by the DVDA, and everybody's going to max mint, dude. I'm going to be chasing traits like crazy. I'm going to be a whale in Doxxed Degen season 2.
I think there's a handful of us that are going to be going for whale status on that, especially on the mint right now. I'm caught up on the artist now on the Secret 101. So that's amazing. Yeah. Well, if you want to stick around with us and engage in the open discussion part, I know nobody is upset about that. If you got shit to do, I know we kept you for a long time, dude, but it's completely up to you, man.
Yeah, I am gonna bounce. There is a bit of a segue there. I don't know if you want to talk about that bunny thing that happened, and then his sort of whatever you want to call it, his honorary cuck degen or
Yeah, I saw you had turned one out for him. That was funny. It was really funny because there was a cat that was in that space, Borovic. And he's a punks holder, I guess. Peters was talking about him, and he had actually released a collection today of AI artwork. And it had a few pieces in it. One of them was a da bunny, but earlier in the afternoon he had posted this one, but it added the carrot condom to it as well. So this bunny guy has been getting it from all angles. But yeah,
That's
I saw yours. That was very good.
Yeah. One that you did really was fucking awesome. That shit was funny with the redhead and the freckles, and yeah, that bunny got fucked publicly. I'm surprised he was even logged in on Web3 today after that beating he took yesterday.
Yeah, well, I had my earphones in and I was listening to that. I couldn't believe that space. And I gotta tell you, I mean, that guy he was a douche, right? But that Spaces was like one of the most entertaining things I've listened to in the last, like, I don't know how long. Melvin came up and like ripped this guy a new one. And oh my God, this is great.
Yeah, Melvin did what I couldn't do. I was just amazed. Number one, I was amazed that he allowed Melvin to stay up that long.
I really did it all in one breath. I was like, I got to get this out. I know they're not going to let me get this all out in one fucking take. And then they just let me go on. So I was just like, fuck it, dude. I'm going to rip this fucking bunny bit. It was disgusting listening to them just talk down on each other about like, oh, you can't talk because you got a floor punk, or you got to raise your hand because you got a fucking Macy and not a Basie. It's like, you get the fuck out of here. Like, you're a grown man trying to fucking act like a bunny on the internet. Like, bro, it's just absolutely embarrassing that you stand up here just talk down on people like your fucking picture means anything, dude. It was just I was pissed off listening to people on stage, and I know other people were fucking pissed off. So I'm just glad I got to go up there and just ear fuck the shit out of that dude. Fucking
yeah, and like T-Moss was cool, like he was cool the whole time, kind of even telling Bunny like, what is your deal, like, does this even matter? Like, it doesn't, and to be more upset than the supposed victims of the theft is kind of weird. But it's funny, that's not the first time we ran into him. He was at the Ape Liquid or Ape Tank or whatever that thing was that we went to, and he was one of the
Ape Tank.
Yeah, and he was one of the guys that came up, and he was on the same shit there. So you'll be able to go back to our old the old recording of that if you cared to. You hear the same guy talking about the same shit just 2 months before. So he's definitely got a hard on for it. I'm guessing, he's down bad. He's like you had mentioned, Melvin, he bought a PFP that doesn't really have anywhere to go. I mean, unless they break a new wall, there they sit. So congratulations.
It was funny seeing how, I mean, the hive-like mentality that is God Hates NFT. We had animations, memes, fucking pictures. Like, Chili made a Doxxed Degen of him. Fucking Peters made him a trading card. Like, it just snowballed, dude. Like, it's crazy. Literally the power that's behind the machine that is God Hates NFT. That shit was fucking hilarious, dude. I live for that kind of stuff.
And Melvin, that was all the next day. I was surprised by you know, while it was happening live, and you look down into the listeners, and 30% of the listeners changed their PFP to this guy's PFP with the, you know, the carrot dick going in the mouth.
Yeah, it was absolutely, there's so much creativity in this community, which brings up, you know, the whole fucking Simp Chimp studio. Like, you know, that Simp Chimp studio, which is run by the community for the community, came out with their first episode on YouTube, VZ's Lips. And if you didn't know, you would have thought that this was something straight out of like Netflix or fucking Cartoon Network. Like, it's incredible. The animation, the voices, the fucking music that Different did. It's incredible.
Yeah, we did fire the voice actor for it, but we replaced them with other members from the community, and that way we don't have to deal with any more embarrassments involved with us. So it'd be amazing. And shout out to Painters. I know between myself, Painters, and Five, we were able to work out a distribution deal of sorts. So that'll be shared through the podcast page. You'll be able to see all previous and any future animations right here.
That's gonna be invaluable to be able to run that for sure. And the quality that came out of, I mean, what's his name? I don't know how to say his at. It's like Abaka or some shit like that. Like the
Jabara, I believe it is.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. We might have to edit that out, Painter. I don't want to say his name.
But he's been like the one who's kind of been spearheading the whole thing, and like he's done such a good job organizing it and like getting the voices all fucking like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's been doing all the. I think he's been doing the animating and the syncing, getting the lips and the voices. I know I had to do mine a couple of times. I kept picking up weird background noise, but
yeah, yours was funny. It's just for something that people are creating with no financial backing, just all community driven, and that shit literally looks like it's on Cartoon Network. It's fucking awesome, dude. It's
great. I can't wait till they start to influx some cash into that. You know,
I hope this bunny bitch is in one of these episodes, just getting fucked or something. I would love to see that.
You got everybody who wants to come on that now, Mel. So it's going to be nice to see the next couple.
Well, yeah, I think people kind of slept on it, and when they saw the first episode, they're just like, "Oh shit! Like I want to be a part of this. Like I want to be a voice actor. I want to contribute to it somehow." Because like when you see once you see that first episode, you just you know what Simp Chimp Studios is all about, dude. You know what they're gonna do. That's not something you can take as a joke, dude. That's
yeah. It just took a little while, right, for them to get off the ground, and I think that was it. And I told them it was a hell of a stick-to-itiveness, you know, when you just see the goal and a lot's thrown in front of you, and it was still done. I'm extremely happy about that.
The quality on it was really, it was just so good. It's amazing. You're right. What's amazing what this community can do and can put out. What are the plans for the next couple episodes? I mean, is there episode 2 and 3? Are they you got stories for them already? Are they ready to go?
Yeah, so they've got so we've got 3 episodes ready to go, right? I think after seeing the first one, and there was some changes that needed to be made immediately. So I think that's gonna maybe slow down 2 and 3 a little bit. But they're, as far as the animation, they're done. We just want to cycle out the voices. That's all.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the next ones. I mean, I'm so excited to see where that project goes.
I think it would be awesome if we can get Chili in on one of these episodes to do
yeah, either a voice or
a little cameo, you know.
Yeah.
I think that we are flying around. I mean, from what I saw in that first episode, we got to pick up some Doxxed Degens, some Degens.
Some Diamond Hand Degens.
That's right. That could be, I'm curious to see.
We'll have to see how involved Chili would want to get in an episode and see what we can do.
Let's do it. I'm all about it.
All right,
I mean, that's it. Yeah, let's do it.
all right, cool. Yeah, I'll link up with you after this. I'll send you a DM or something tomorrow. We'll get the right people in contact.
I think one of the coolest things about these Doxxed Degens is like, they're first of all, we get the IP rights to them. So obviously it's a character of ourselves. It's not like anybody's really going to be stealing that. But as these, the new season 2 comes out and in the mixture, I think having IP rights is fucking clutch. And Chili's already doing it. What do you guys think about having these same IP rights with our God Hates collection? I know we kind of already started that discussion, but I think
I'm absolutely. I think it's the natural progression of what we built here. I think and I've heard quite a few people agree. I think our floor price at least doubles at the announcement of you own what you bought. Right?
Chili, since we have you, I would love to know, like, what do you think about, I mean, you were the artist of a lot of these God Hates ecosystem tokens. What do you think about turning it from a CCO into an IP and allowing people to kind of own the OGs that they've bought in that you have kind of created for everyone?
I mean, I really like the idea with the Doxxed Degens. I like the idea. There's it gives you sort of this starting point to go out and create something else, or do something with it, right? I mean, the whole thing about IP rights is not so that I can go sue somebody that sticks a carrot dick in my mouth. That's not what IP rights are about. So IP rights is so Sleepy Lou can go hook up with TNR Coffee and they can create a coffee bag with Sleepy Lou's image on it, or Miss Q can go create, a THC line of whatever with her Doxxed Degen on it. It's so you can go market it and use it and use it as your brand, right? You bought it, and it's especially the Degens, they're of your image. So, I mean, even back with like the bases, the guys who are creating and making stuff and using it as a brand to build stuff. Those are the guys who are successful, not the guys who are just using it like, hey, you can't right click, save that and post it somewhere. I mean, it's all about building a brand off of. And if we can put value into it and you can go use that image and use it as a brand or build value, I think that's powerful.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think that's super important, like you said, with the Doxxed Degens, because it is like this. But you did do the art on the mutants. So any feels on that? I mean, do you mind? It doesn't seem like you would mind, but if those then became IP'd as well, you'd be good with that?
So I would be good with it. So I mean, I did the mutant art, right, as a commission job for Peters. So I mean, I don't own any of the rights to it as it is. That was a commission job. So but yeah, I would be fine with it. I mean, if anybody's looking for my okay, you got it.
There it is.
Plug, I mean,
for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's important to know the opinion of the artists who definitely created. I think it's definitely worth a lot. And especially as people start to create their own figures here in Web3, like Preacher, like it's important that nobody can just take a Preacher figure and go put it on a dildo and go sell a fucking dildo line called Preacher's Dildos or something, and just ruin Preacher's likeliness. And I'm actually kind of thinking about doing that. Actually, I might go put Preacher's face on a shake weight. If we don't get IP rights, then I'm just kidding. But no, I think IP is super fucking important. I love that it's even part of our discussion. That's just the power of God Hates. It started as a free mint, and all of a sudden it turns into something that you can actually build a business from. That's fucking incredible.
But like I said, I think starting out CCO is fine. But I think once you reach the part of a project like we're at, where there are dozens of people who have invested tens of thousands of dollars into this, and I know we had discussed it previously, but it's that's how you get into making money with NFTs without selling them. It's the branding opportunities. It's the throwing, like I said last night, Mountain Sensei It's got an amazing mutant trait. He happens to be lucky enough to own his schizo trait. And so like having a rolling tray or a hoodie with that, like these are things that even people who don't know what an NFT is would still purchase. And I think Melvin, you brought it up last night at an amazing point, going and printing your NFTs on a shirt or on a sticker and then selling that. I think the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, that's one thing that, I think it's important for people to realize too, is like there's other ways to make money on NFTs other than buying and selling it like a stock. And especially if you own the rights to it, like you can build a business off of just a figure. Look at what Nike did with just a fucking swoosh. Like there's a lot of companies out here that are absolute fucking garbage, but they literally just have an image that people recognize, and that's what people want. They just want to say that they have a pair of Nike shoes, even though the shoes fucking fall apart after 3 months. It's like, so it's important to be able to own the rights to an image that turns into an asset. And it's just being creative and being smart about how to fucking monetize things. Yeah, put it on stickers, put it on t-shirts. You got a character that looks like he's stoned, then yeah, put it on some weed gear or something. Like, don't, that's the best part, but it takes IP rights to do that, really. So I think now that these are as valuable as they are, it's just going to add more value once we have that kind of potential. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens for sure. As soon as IP rights hit, you're going to start seeing a lot of bigger names come in, because they already know like the engagement that comes with these tokens and this ecosystem, and now you can actually monetize from it. It's going to open up a whole different Pandora's box of opportunity for people.
So Melvin, I noticed a few things after now the second podcast. I noticed that you love talking, and so I have a question for you. I recently in the week we had an issue, tiny little meltdown, and you got kicked from one of the cult chats. You remember?
I do remember that. Yeah.
You want to touch on that a little bit? Maybe do a response. See what?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Just to give people context, Troy, one of my best friends in this project, we kind of had a falling out, and we're no longer friends, and I miss him. And so when we had our falling out, he would remove me from chat groups a lot, and it would upset me that I never had the power and that he always had the power. And so I woke up one morning just recently, and I saw that Troy and I were in the same chat again somehow. And I thought to myself, you know what, this is my opportunity to have the power. I want the power. And so I thought it would be a good idea to block Troy and remove him from one of the chats. And so that's what I did. And I laughed about it. I thought it was funny. I laughed, and then shit hit the fan. So after I blocked Troy, a bunch of different chat groups started talking about whether or not Troy had left the groups or Troy had been removed from someone. And obviously, as the troll that I am, I let the chatter just go on, because that's like a troll within a troll. So I'm kind of just letting people just kind of make theories about why Troy left this chat. And then, so they add him back to the chat, and I block him again. And I just unblock him right after, and so he keeps getting removed, and then people will actually get upset about it. And so obviously when people actually get upset in Web3, that's like blood in the water to me. So I start, poking at people who were upset about it. And then one thing led to another, feelings got hurt, and I was removed from the original cult chat, which I've been in since clearly fucking day one, which to me was like an insult. I was like, how dare they fucking remove me?
I'm not gonna lie, I was mad about that. I was like, well, wait the fuck up. Why the fuck? Why
well, I was there for all of that, Mel. And I think you got removed because Big K, the gatekeeper, you didn't stop the tirade on him, right?
Well, you know what? I thought trolling. So I was
Yeah,
like,
I was there. I saw it all. It was definitely heartfelt between everybody, but I think that was the reason he removed you, because you were too red, and you were through the roof on it, and that was what happened.
True. Yeah. So I did get removed from the original cult chat, which when that happens, it's like that's your death sentence. So I'm thinking to myself, like, oh fuck, I fucked up because like I took my trolling too far. It was just all fun and games. It was just supposed to be me blocking Troy from a chat, Troy getting removed, and then me laughing about it to myself. But then it kind of turned into this other thing that was even funnier to me. And then like people start getting upset about it. Like, Troy still has a lot of friends in the community, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me, but he does. And they start getting upset. And I was like, obviously just gonna keep poking the bear. But so I got removed from the chat and I wasn't happy about it. So I started to continue. I continued my troll outside the chat.
Right. And we know we don't do that. And it comes down to a vote anyway. So, Big K definitely needed to put that to a vote no matter what. That's how we've always run that since Preach made those, cult chats. Cult chat one always ran with a vote if you're going to get bounced.
Yeah, no vote was taken. I think it was both just a little bit of just, showing each other's who had the bigger dick, and it was a stalemate. So I think I eventually got put back into the chat. It was what it was. I think everything is all squashed at this point. But it was funny for a minute because that shit like, and it was just happened to be coincidental that when we have too much downtime, we just troll each other. The fudders, they're scared of us. Like they know so they don't FUD us anymore. So when nobody's FUDing us, we just FUD each other.
We just FUD ourselves and each other. Yeah, it's more fun that way.
It's like a family all just fucking with each other. So then like I think it was less than 12 hours later, the whole bunny thing happened and I was already on red. And so it was just like natural for me to jump up and just fuck that bunny, dude. And so it felt good to do it to somebody not in our community. It felt actually even better. So I'm learning. I think a lot of people are learning as we grow in this whole Web3 4chan fucking trolling community that we call God Hates NFT. It was funny though that it's just never a dull day. It's never a dull day.
That's
well,
true.
I had to critique that just a little bit with the bunny guy, right? Now, just a little bit. I thought you were a little off your game with him, but I've heard a lot better come out of you, especially to a fucking guy with bunny ears. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, so when I was first on stage, he muted me after like the first 10 seconds. I was like, this fucking bitch. I'm not even going to be able to say what I want to say. So after he unmuted me the second time, I was like, all right, I just got to get it out. So I took a deep breath and I just machine gunned him. But had I had time, dude, I actually wish I did not leave stage because I realized after that I'd probably had more opportunity, but at that point, he was so upset and in his feelings. I was like, you know what? He's just gonna go to bed tired tonight. He ain't gonna get any sleep. So I just left the stage and just let it be what was gonna be. But then, dude, it fucking the community took over after that. Like, I mean, sure, I went up there for 30 seconds and ear fucked this dude, but the rest of the community, like, I mean, DVDA,
Oh man.
community member, like his at DVDA. I don't know what his fucking at.
DVDA remix.
DVDA remix is a fucking legend. That dude must not sleep. I don't know what he does, but he just produces some of the fucking coolest memes. He's the real troll, not me. Like I'm just upfront and aggressive about it, but DVDA is a whole nother kind of troll.
Well, it's funny you bring him up. He's actually our community shout out. Community member of the week shout out. DVDA.
He's our first official then. He
yeah. Yep, he's number one nonstop. Wow. Dude, this guy is always listening and so fast with the memes. The way that he'll throw us into in themed things, like things that go with what's being talked about. It's amazing. Really, the guy's humble as fuck. He rarely comes and talks to us, which I wish he'd do more, but I know he's got IRL going on, and to make the time that he does for the community and for the lulz. It's fucking amazing.
I remember we started by hating him. Like, isn't that the guy that had the original DVDA? Like,
Yes, I thought the fuck out of him.
because he either sold the original Twitter account or like gave it to Peter's.
No, so he had it. He had the original Twitter account, and then he was doing these like weird engaging posts. And so I had noticed it, and I'm like, well, this is not good. You know, this guy's trying to build a following off of the DVDA, you know, and so for like security reasons, that's not good. You know, this guy's going around acting like he's the project and you know, gaining trust, and then one day he drops a link, and now, you know, everybody's fucked. And that was my initial thought process on it. So I ended up like fudding the fuck out of him. He quit coming to our spaces. He started going to the Latino spaces, even though he's not Latino. And then one night, I think it was, he reached out to me and he was like, if you want this account, I'm willing to give it to you. And so I had ended up like creating the account. Like he was like, I'm going to delete it, and then you need to have it ready to create. And so we did that pass off. And then from then on, you know, he started coming in, he started making some really nice purchases. We kept bumping into each other, you know, going after the same style of tokens. And it's turned into this. I mean, that's one of those examples of somebody who came in and pushed us through the FUD, and, you know, shows like, hey, I'm really here. I want to be a part of this. And that's definitely DVDA.
That's dope. I'm glad we're doing this. We're featuring members in our community. I think there's definitely a lot of members that don't get enough recognition. And yeah, so we're definitely going to throw up on the podcast website a member to feature every week, put a little profile or something, you know, make sure they get that recognition. So that's going to be really cool. What the fuck happened to Steven? Is he sleeping right now? I feel like
I'm not asleep. The majority of the discussion is between, let's say, Melvin, then Peaches comes in. Then also we had the long discussion with Chili. And I trying to find like the silent moments, but there aren't any.
All right. Well, we know, Steven, being a fucking whale that you are, I know you have some input onto this marketplace that we've just, you know, put out recently. We got this new trade function, being able to exchange. What do you think about that? What do you think about the marketplace that we've created, the ability to be able to trade and swap tokens? And then, and what in your opinion, what do you think we should do moving forward with that marketplace? How do you think we could monetize from it?
I think from my point of view is like we need to add it also in our bios. That's some of the ideas that Miss Lady Law mentioned on Discord. So that's what I did in my bio, because all the time my bio on Twitter was like empty. So I added the GodHatesNftee marketplace in it. Some few hashtags on Doxxed Degens, GodHatesNftees, and this I think will also give us like some more exposure. Then people will look on our Twitter profile, see, oh, that's the marketplace. We can navigate to that, connect our wallet to it, and then from there on, they can already, let's say, browse to what the marketplace has to offer, promote the swap feature, and yeah, just keep talking about it on Twitter Spaces. I think, like for example, I did the swap with you, Melvin, for maybe a senior banana or an OG.
Ooh, you know, I'm still in the market for a senior banana.
Same for me.
Yeah, those got really crazy this week too, didn't they? There's a sale for 2.85.
Yeah. I mean, our floor has been holding steady at 0.8, you know, all week essentially, super thin. We got like 1 or 2%, no, 2 or 3% listed. Out of 5,000, that is not a lot. Super thin floor. I think less than 20 tokens on the OGs to over an ETH. Fucking Senior Bananas just had that sale at 2.5. I mean, if there's any ecosystem, I know we've been doing a lot of degen plays lately, but man, I just don't feel as confident in anything as we do, God hates. What do you think, preacher? Do you think we should find a way to make money off of our marketplace, whether it's ads or charging fees for other communities to use it, or do you think we should just keep this in-house? What is your thought?
Well, I've touched on it before, and I know we talk about in the beginning how militant we were against projects and the talk of other projects, and I think it's only natural to progress the way that we have, where we slowly ease up on it, right? I mean, we obviously still aren't going to turn our spaces into chill and chills, but at the same time, to fill that airspace with us on there, it is helpful, I think, to have people discussing things like that. Like when me and Steven and a few members of the community jump into something to try to make some money. I think especially with our community being built up of a lot of people who are new to this space, it's helpful for some of them in a couple of different ways, right? It could help assist somebody from FOMOing in, right? They can live vicariously through hearing what Steven or myself or what Jeff Beamish or Hooked on Phonics is doing, or they can say, I've seen these guys talk about 4 or 5 projects. I've seen results and money being made from these calls, and it just gives them kind of an opportunity to see what's going on, and I think our space has been built around that. So I think it's natural. I'm fine with it. If we wanted to start revenue streams with ads from credible projects, I would have no issue with that. At the same time, I wouldn't want it to be just a roll through of just any garbage NFT that wanted to throw some cash at us and get it up there. But definitely, I'd be down for a vetted system with that.
Yeah, what do you think, Clem? What's your thoughts? I know with all your experience doing business and shit, I know you probably got some thoughts about the marketplace and kind of the direction you would like to see it going. Are you in agreement with what Preacher said, or do you have some of your own thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've spoken about this, and the outside interest really want in, right? And for me, that's more the reason just to keep it as is. It's a marketplace for the members to go to know that they're not going to get fucked over one way or the other. And the fees are paramount, right? So you're giving that utility back to everybody. This is why you're here. And that's what that marketplace is, to me, at least. And I think it's, not groundbreaking, but definitely on its way to being there,
Yeah, for sure. And, as we become more like a business, like this is not NFTs anymore at this point. We're building businesses, and the NFTs is just on the front of it. Like, unfortunately, I know our spaces will have to come to an end at some point, because it's just, as you build businesses and as you start to build that reputation, you can't have, these little side chats of people kind of ruin it. So it kind of brings me into that thought about the whole Loiter Squad. Like, as we build this business and as reduce your as we reduce our time on spaces, what do you guys think about? I mean, how do you even control rogue members from running spaces and kind of just like, I mean, what does that look like? What do you guys think about the Loiter Squad? I love the people in it. I always kind of, those members who were in the Loiter Squad, I always personally never had an issue with, but I just know as we build a business, it's going to be harder to kind of control, that reputation thing. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, Steven came from the Loiter Squad, right? So I think we should defer to him to see what his answers are on that and how he feels.
I actually was always on the sidelines, listening in on spaces. And one time I think I popped in the Loiter Squad spaces, and then Fang was the one who added me to Loiter Squad, but I didn't even ask with. I am, because I don't really ask to be added to in any chats or whatsoever. I just try to do my own things and do my own research at the same time.
What did you think those guys got out of it, though, Steven? Like, did you feel that it was cathartic for them, or like what was it that drew them to there?
I think it's trying to, let's say, gather some more information from, let's say, the main spaces over to their spaces, I would say. And at the same time, not trying to compete with the main space, but giving, let's say, an opportunity for some other people to come up on stage and talk about some things in general, like because usually when there's like maybe 200 people in the audience, there could be a few people or members that aren't really comfortable speaking in a large crowd. So that's why maybe they would end up joining, let's say, the Loiter Squad spaces and talk over there.
Okay, so I get it, and maybe there's some lacking on the big space, but when you have other spaces using the name, right?
For sure.
People are jumping in there thinking this one, which one is the real one, right? So there's a definite line, and obviously they didn't use the name anymore, right?
That's kind of what I was saying though, right? Like our spaces are going to have to eventually start to die down as we build this business. I don't think you can just have people running spaces and, just representing the business any way they see fit. So
yeah, and at the same time, you can't stop them,
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Like I touched on it a little bit. You know, the guys in the Loiter Squad are, no surprise, not my favorite, right? But as far as them hosting spaces, if it keeps them from, disrupting ours, then I'm cool with it. I don't have a problem with it. You can't stop randoms from not following the direction of the collective, right? I mean, I think that's what makes them randoms. And
that's
so,
the importance of the IP rights too, right? Like,
correct.
The whole bunny bitch dude he's not a reflection on the entire Bay C, although nobody really respects Bay C's. What he did last night isn't a reflection of other people who have Bay C PFP. So it's like, without the IP rights, people who are running Loiter Space squads represents everybody. Whereas if we have IP rights, like, they're representing themselves and the picture that they're wearing. So you're right. Like, I think it's important fucking.
And keep in mind, like we were, we're not even going to be using the official tag space. So that's one of the things moving forward that I think is a strategic decision, just to separate, because like we had discussed, like, big time investors and people that are going to come in and drop a bunch of money on an investment, they don't want to know that there's a space going 24 hours a day that can, manipulate the floor, the price action. Something could happen, and people, start they don't want that. So you have to start kind of closing in. And like I said, I think in the beginning a lot of people used it as a crutch, the spaces, to have everybody there, and it's a lot of fun. But I think long term, as we grow, that may be a thing that we see. We may see an increase in the podcast, right? And make it a more optional and closed circuit thing rather than just 24-hour spaces.
Yeah, you know how I feel about the 24-hour spaces. I appreciate the toll that it takes on everybody to run that, right? And that's my concern on that. What the toll is for you guys. The return on investment for everybody else is immense, but for you and for others that are up there, sitting in silence is definitely a strange thing, right? But I get it. I understand. But
it broke Troy being on spaces as much as he was. Like, so yeah, people got to have breaks. You can't be on spaces all day, every day, or you're going to end up fucking leaving the community because you got your feelings hurt or something.
I think it's also, let's say, a personality thing. Like, even if people try to fund me, I won't be, let's say, selling my tokens for a loss. I will just return to, let's say, a silent investor.
That's because you're fuddable, Steven.
That's true.
All right, guys, we got to start wrapping this up. We already had complaints of this was too long by that Verdoza guy, so we don't want to keep pissing him off. But I definitely want to get some final thoughts from you guys and lead into discussing what we have for everybody next week.
Yeah,
I think, I'm sorry, Mel. I was just going to say, I think it was too short, by the way, with Chili. I think we could do at least 3 shows with Chili if we want, but I thought it was exceptional, and hopefully we just keep getting better.
Yeah, you just took the words right out of my mouth, actually. I was literally just going to say I fucking super thankful Chili was here to join us, to be able to answer those questions. I know a lot of those were burning questions that the community members really wanted to have answers. So thanks again, Chili, for joining us. And I know you already said you were going to join us again for a future podcast. So I can't wait to, get out some more of these questions that we couldn't ask today.
Yeah, it was really so fun. Thanks for having me, guys. I could stay here probably all night and talk to you guys. Really excited, for what this community is building, and there's just so many things to look forward to and so many things coming out that it's just every day is something new and surprising that makes this project stronger. Yeah, thanks for having me. I can't wait to be on next with you guys.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
totally agree on the opinions of the rest of the people who were on the podcast today. That we're very grateful that you are part of our community, but also a whole lot of different tokens from our ecosystem.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. And coming up next week, I know that we have Non-Fungi will be on with us. So reached out to him and he agreed to come on too. So that'd be very exciting as well. And we'll get to see like his side of all this as well. So that'd be an awesome perspective.
Yeah, Non-Fungible Motion, another fucking great artist in this ecosystem. Can't wait to get his insight, just like we got from Chili this week. That's going to be another great podcast.
But all right, I hope you guys enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed creating this for you. Shout out to Painters News, as always, Clemenza, Steven, Melvin. Love you guys. Chili, you guys have a good night. And everybody listening, be blessed. We'll see you next time. And tonight we're going to leave you guys on a song made by a community member, Aaron Varble. Take it away, Aaron.
She breaks out a MetaMask for another rug pull fast. They took all of her ETH. Another broke degen out on the street. Suddenly, Twitter started to change. Moments in your Peter's registered up domain. La 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 la, it's amazing that a free man will make you give a damn about Web3 again. And if you're still spotting, watch that floor rise to meet punks, and you're not gonna make it. GodHatesNftees hit 6090. She got a big bag now, a few dope tokens to talk about. We might be NFTs, but it's all about the community. Things in this world, man, they don't make sense. Just check out Logan Paul's investments. La 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 la, it's amazing that a free mint will make you give a damn about Web3 again. And if you're still flooding, watch that floor rise to meet punks, and you're not gonna make it. GodHatesNftees hit 6090. Let that trace sniping begin. We got our own marketplace, my friend. You don't have to sell on open Peters is always building. La 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 la, it's amazing that a free mint will make you give a damn about Web3 again. And if you're still flooding, watch that floor rise to meet punks, and you're not gonna make it. So God hates NFTs, it's 6090. I think I ruined this song.